Session to order. Will you please stand and join me in a moment of silence as we honor military personnel and first responders who have given the ultimate sacrifice. And now please join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this evening, Lord, that once again we get to come together as Canyon Lakers and hopefully do what is right for the community. Thank you for the amazing events that took place this weekend, Lord, with 9/11. It truly is a great community to be a part of, to see so many come up and honor those that we lost on that tragic day, Lord. Thank you for this community for continuing to be what I believe the most amazing place, as I was corrected, in the world to live. In your name, amen. Flag salute. Mr. Cook, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mr. Cook. Madam Clerk, we need a roll call.
Councilmember Castillo. Here. Councilmember Dane.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Green.
Here.
Councilmember Welty.
Here.
Mayor Smith.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Closed session report. Mr. City Attorney, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor. There are no items to report out of closed session today.
Perfect. Approval of City Council agenda. Mr. City Manager, you looking for any changes tonight?
Just one addition, under ceremonial matters, Mayor Pro Tem Green has an announcement to make. Other than that, no changes.
Perfect. Thank you for that correction. All right, moving on. I do need a motion on this.
Motion.
Second.
Got a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Green, a second from Councilwoman Castillo, I believe. Roll call vote.
Councilmember Castillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Dane.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Green.
Aye.
Councilmember Welty.
Aye.
Mayor Smith.
Good to go. Aye.
Thank you. Motion carried.
Perfect. Moving on to ceremonial matters. Is that correct? Yes. All right. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem Green, I'm going to give you the floor.
Wow, I didn't realize going to be first up.
Yep, the very first thing, dear to our hearts.
Thank you. I want to make an announcement to the community and to all my colleagues and friends that are out there. I will be leaving Canyon Lake as of November 1st. I will be relocating out of state to the state of Montana. And so my last council meeting will be the October meeting, but my official leaving of Canyon Lake will be November 1st. So it's been a real honor to have served this community, and all of the functions that I've done over the years, from emergency preparedness to training kids to be firefighters to a fire station that we have up and running thanks to Chief Latendress, and all the other things we have here, such as our city staff, and of course our council. And I really think that I was talking to the city manager the other day when I informed him, and I said one of the things I'm very proud about is a true leader doesn't do everything themselves. It's the team that they develop. And we got a great team. So thank you.
I know there's going to be some ceremonial things that we'll be doing in the next, 45 days. But for me, and I hope everyone has just a little something to say, it's been an honor to serve with you. I've learned so much. I think we've done some really good stuff together in the last more than 3.5 years now. And I'm excited for your next chapter. It's going to be a good one. And I know that you always pick up the phone when we have questions, and that's what's important. But appreciate you. Really do. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to say?
I just want to say you have been a mentor for me. I remember writing a letter to the editor last time you stepped down, which was obviously heartbreaking, and this is not going to be any different. We were lucky to get you back, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you. We've changed the table, so I can't see the mayor's face anymore, so I have to kind of wave. I would just like to say, talk about a person at the right time, at the right place. We were struggling with how we were going to handle our fire department, how we were going to handle fire service. Larry came in right then, and he guided us through this very complicated process. I don't know if we'd be where we are today if it hadn't been for Larry stepping up. So Just want to appreciate him and say, incredible. I came in behind him on the council, and to be able to lean on him has been a wonderful experience. Great relationships. So thank you.
Absolutely.
I just want to thank you for the support that you've given me as the newest member. And we're going to miss your experience and the great insight that you have into what's going on.
We're just going around the table, so Mr. City Attorney, sorry, Chris.
That's okay. Let me just add real quick, though. I do anticipate that we will have more official, formal going away
Yes.
at the next council meeting as well.
Absolutely.
I wanted to thank the Mayor Pro Tem for all of his years of service. It has been an absolute pleasure working with you and working on all the projects that have really moved the city of Canyon Lake forward. I hope you enjoy your future endeavors. You absolutely deserve it. Thank you, sir.
I'm going to hold most of my thoughts until the October meeting, but this is going to be a big loss for the city. And I know we'll find someone in the community to step up, but no one's going to be able to really fill your shoes. You have been kind of a rock with this organization, and someone I've leaned on a lot over the last 3.5 years now, and really going to miss working with you.
I will also save my comments for the October meeting. I look forward to celebrating you at that meeting and celebrating everything that you've done for this community. I'm very, very sad to see you go, but I'm excited for you, and I'm going to stop before I start crying.
I'm going to miss cost recovery, as Mayor Pro Tem Green would say so often. So thank you for the kind words for our lovely Mayor Pro Tem, and there'll be more in October, obviously. All right, moving on, Citizen of the Month. Aaron Rupie, did I get it right?
Yes.
Yes, Aaron Rupie, can you please join me up here? I got some awesome things to say about you.
Aaron Ruppe.
Nice to officially meet you. All right, let me do this little thing. All right, so we do a thing called Citizen of the Month every single month, and you, my friend, was chosen. Believe it or not, it wasn't just your wife or your kids or a family member who recognized you. It's a few community members. I'm not going to name the name, but we got a couple requests. I'm going to read some of the kind words that were said about you and why you were nominated as Canyon Lake Citizen of the Month. I would like to nominate Aaron because Aaron lives in the lake, and he is a key element to our Canyon Lake Little League. Aaron has not only been a manager of multiple teams throughout this year, but has been a voice for the kids as an executive board member, as a player, as an advocate. I had the pleasure of being, that'll give it away. Aaron brought home his first very championship last season. Watching him all season long fight along the kids was more impressive than I've ever seen. Games and practices, he is without a doubt the definition of what Canyon Lake is. So I just want to say thank you for your continued service. Thank you for putting the kids first in Canyon Lake. You are without a doubt what we strive for here in Canyon Lake. So I want to present this certificate to you, and if you have any words, we'd like to hear them. If not, all right. So I think we're supposed to take a picture.
Yay!
Can we have the whole council, if you don't mind?
Oh, yeah.
And everyone needs to take a look at Corey's new suit because it's very flashing. Yeah, nice. It is very nice. Welcome to the city. It's all right, we're not going to do a round of two. You guys can get close. All right. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, we're going to keep going. Is Captain Andrew here? Is Lieutenant Rails going to take it? Okay.
Lieutenant Rails, yes, and he
Okay.
has a few words to say.
Okay, so Lieutenant Rails, if you don't mind, can you join me up here? Soon to be Captain Rails, but we'll leave that for a second. We're so excited about that. But this is for Andrew. So I'm going to let you do the recognition. You have some things you want to say about him?
He actually wrote
Oh,
a statement,
perfect.
so I'm just going to read it.
Okay, let's do that.
All right.
Let's see what he has to say. She can be here.
Canyon Lake City Council. Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. Unfortunately, I was unable to make it to this evening. I truly appreciate the time and honor I got to spend getting to know you and serving the great community of Canyon Lake. You've been supportive of our staff and recognize the importance of public safety and what it has to offer to your community. Thank you, city staff, for all your support in growing our department community closer than ever. I look forward to Captain Rail's tenure at the Lake Elsinore Station and providing the outstanding service of this great organization. God bless Captain Andrew Aaliyah.
Perfect. Well, if Andrew Aaliyah is listening, this is in recognition of your loyal and dedication service to the residents of the city of Canyon Lake, and we are so appreciative of everything that you've done during the time you're here. So I'll give this to you to give to him. But first, we have one. This is a recognition to present it to our very own James Rails in recognition of your promotion to captain. Once again, give him a round of applause. That is phenomenal. We are proud of your achievement, and thank you for your continued dedication to the city of Canyon Lake. And I speak on behalf of myself and the council, and I know the city manager, because you always answer, you always come through, you help out with any issues we have. We know people in our community who are involved in, social media and asking questions, and you always deliver, and you put up with us in the middle of the night, you put us up with in the morning, because Canyon Lakers are very needy. But we love you to death for doing all that. So in this, we want to give this to you, and we appreciate you, and congratulations. You have to.
Okay. I will say a few words. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, and the city, and to the citizens of Canyon Lake. Many times within the Sheriff's Department, we get moved at a moment's notice, and we never know where we're going. I was worried about getting a call and getting sent to somewhere where I haven't been a part of. This time, I get to stay, which is awesome.
So cool.
Yep.
So happy.
I love this community. I love Canyon Lake. Just like the sheriff spoke on the 9/11 event, department-wide, we feel the same way. If anybody that's dealt with this city feels the same way. It's patriotic. There's very few cities that pray at every event, which is amazing. That doesn't happen hardly anywhere anymore.
Yeah.
So to me, that even makes me want to be more a part of this community than what I already am. So I'm ecstatic about staying. Yes, I'm going to have the county area from Corona to Murrieta, the mountains, 3 city councils, and 3 city managers and all that, so I'm going to be busy. But I am planning on staying a part of Canyon Lake. I'll still be attending meetings.
Yes.
I'm not going to send you guys another liaison, a lieutenant, until probably January, so I'll still be here at the city council meetings. I'll still be involved very much. I'll still be meeting with Chris often, so I don't have kids at home like Captain Aaliyah did. He had a lot going on. My kids are older, out of the house, so I've got plenty of time to attend to everything that I can. So I'm honored, and thank you for this. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's yours. Cover for that. Can we get a picture? Oh, yeah. I think we got everyone on this one. Come on. You just gave me chills with your prayer speech, so thank you. Here's the other one.
Very nice.
Yes. Can you come here too? All right, we're not done. We got 2 more. Okay, so there was an event that happened this weekend. It's called 9/11 Tribute Event. And, leave it to our staff to do something like this as quick as we can, because the event was on Sunday and here we are on a Wednesday. And this community sees the importance of what we do, so we want to honor a few people. The first, if you don't mind, Tim, if you can come up here. Renee, if you can come up here. This is to the 9/11 Tribute in Light Committee. And I know it was made up of, I was told 15 to 16 people, and I only have 4 in front of me. But it shows Canyon Lake's involvement, and 5, that's right. Perfect. So we're getting better. We're halfway there. 50%. I love it. And if you weren't there and you missed it, Hopefully, you could have seen some of the activity on social media. It was absolutely amazing. The morning was what I was a part of. I missed the evening, but I heard it was just as good, and everything was incredible. So I just want to say thank you so much on behalf of the council. Thank you for your dedication and the hard work that you've done. So I'm going to present this to you, Mr. Cook. I'm going to let you say a few words if you have anything to say. Come on, I know you got a couple things to say. All the hard work that you've done, raising money. Come on, tell them.
Well, none of this could have been done without the committee, first of all. And then grateful to Chris. We spoke one day and he offered to partner with me, and it just lit me up, and I just knew we had support for this event. Then the POA came along, and then the community responded, and it just made the whole event, everybody there in the rain. It was just an awesome time. People were literally dancing in the rain and stuff. It was such a good time. The morning was unbelievably beautiful. What a great ceremony we had throughout the whole day. So I just thank the whole community for coming. Couldn't have an event without a community like this. So
Absolutely amazing. You have anything to say? You good? You want a picture? Yep. Come on, guys. We're burning calories tonight. Come on up. Everyone's apart. And we have one more.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
You get to do this one. I know this is you too. Good.
Okay, so along those lines, Jennifer, please come up.
Awesome.
Jen, can you wheel this over maybe so that the community can see it a little better? So if you don't know Jennifer Lawrence, you should. She is one of the amazing craftswomen in our community. We call her a wood artist, and she truly is. I personally have multiple pieces in my house because she's so just amazing. But when we were thinking about what to do for the morning, and the committee came up with having a bell, Councilwoman Dane took the lead on this and contacted Jen and said, come up with something that we can use as a bell stand that will be meaningful. And to be honest, none of us had any idea what could end up coming out of your artistic brain. But here it is. We kind of asked you and put you on the spot at the ceremony to talk about it, and it was hard because I know that this was you told me this was a very emotional piece for you. Jennifer numbers all of her pieces. So each chair, each piece is its own entity, and for her, this was piece 911. So that was so meaningful. I don't know if you can tell, and maybe the camera can zoom in, but the stand is essentially 2 ghost towers. There are 2 blue pools of resin in the bottom, which show the, or symbolize the reflection pools at 9/11 Memorial in New York. They also are lit, so they're beautiful in the evening. She has a dedication plaque. The stand itself has an American flag, and the bell is embossed with Never Forget, September 11th, 2001. When Jen was contacted and commissioned to do this, she refused to take any compensation and instead donated this to the city, which for us just makes it even more meaningful. And I personally was told by so many community members how touched they were by your gesture, how just phenomenal this is. It's certainly a pride point for Canyon Lake to have this in our council chambers and out in the city hall. So we want to recognize you for not only your outstanding craftsmanship or craftswomanship, but your design and creation of this, and we will be using this for years to come. And just on behalf of the city, thank you so much. Do you want to say anything else? Do you want to say something?
It was my honor and privilege. It was truly my honor and privilege. I couldn't even put a price on something like this. It was, I felt life coming into this through my hands, through everyone who was affected by that day. It was truly my honor and privilege. I couldn't say that more than enough. Thank you.
Well, we are so proud that you belong to us. You can never leave. And Canyon Lake is very grateful, so can we do a picture?
Yeah, we're going to do a picture of everyone.
Here we go. One, two, three. All right, thank you.
But we're keeping this.
Thank you all. I have to go. I hate to get run, but not even want to rest. Thank you.
How's that for ceremonial matters? I think we hit them all. All right, we can go home, adjourn. All right, moving on. Here we go. Community report. Normally, we would have our lovely President Burke, but I know that our President, Renee Griffith, has to go somewhere from the Canyon Lake Property Owners Association, so if you don't mind, come up and give the report first.
Thank you for that. I'm part of the Rocktoberfest committee as well. So, although it seems like a lot, it's just a very large font because I'm older and I don't want to wear glasses in front of you guys. So, Mayor Smith, City Council members, of course, City Manager, great attorney, and Anna, who does everything. Thank you for the opportunity to be here with you and share some highlights of the Canyon Lake POA. First, I want to thank, on behalf of the POA, for your partnership in the 9/11 events. God, I was crying earlier, now it's killing me.
I know.
Thank you to Chief Latendress. Thank you so much for attending the committee meetings and providing your amazing insight. And then also your speeches on both events. Thanks for making me cry a lot, so I appreciate that. To Mayor Smith, Councilmember Castillo, and Councilmember Dean, the fact that no one chose to run against you speaks to the undeniable confidence that we, I don't know, I'm emotional, the citizens of Canyon Lake have in your abilities. So congratulations to all three of you.
Thank you.
We are so blessed to have you continue, and yeah, I'm super excited.
Thank you.
As you know, the POA board recently selected Alex Cook to fill the seat that was left vacant by Brian Bach.
Congratulations.
For those who don't know Alex, he's lived in the community for over 20 years. He's been a member of several committees, including the Facility Planning Committee and the Activities Committee. He's been chair of the Activities Committee for a very long time. And with that selection, I actually leaned on what the council had done. And the city council proved that by selecting Jennifer Dean, that prior board or council experience is not the number one factor when selecting a person to represent the community. So I leaned on that heavily, so thank you to all the council members who are part of selecting Jennifer Dean. As most of you know, we opened the pump track roughly 2 weeks ago. The community, young and old, and there are some older people on there, God bless them, have been enjoying it. We plan to have a grand opening. We're hoping sometime in November. We're waiting for the playground equipment to arrive and the fitness equipment. I think we have either 6 or 8 pieces that'll be arriving and was delayed due to all the other reasons why everything's delayed right now. Last night, the POA board approved a contract for the engineering portion of Phase 2 for the pavement improvement project. Our goal is to begin the next phase of our multi-year rehabilitation project in 2023. We estimate that the cost for the next phase will range from anywhere $6 to $7 million. We also approved funding to replace the Holiday Harbor courtesy docks that were installed back in the 90s when I was young. The new docks will accommodate 20 boats versus 12. We're also approved funding to replace Harrelson Park Dock, which is a wooden dock and has been there for 20 years. I looked at the calendar today on our POA website to give you a highlight of some of the events coming up. And there's something every single weekend through the end of October. So the only thing I'm going to highlight right now is what's coming up this Saturday. So if anyone here or whoever's listening has kids, the Bassmasters is hosting the Kids Fishing Derby. It is amazing what they do, and the prizes for these kids is pretty spectacular. So with that, I encourage everyone to go to our POA website to check out what's going on. You just have to highlight the community tab, click on events, and you'll see a laundry list of things to do. It's the beauty of Canyon Lake, you can't be bored. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Mayor Smith, for letting
Thank
me
you.
come up.
Absolutely. Thank you so
All right, I'll
much.
supply another one.
Thank you.
You're up. President Burke.
Good evening, Mayor Smith, council, city manager, staff, residents. First of all, Councilman Green, I wish you the best of luck. I'm hoping that this is like a bad joke number 2, and then it's 3 strikes, you're out. I will remind
That's pretty
you
good.
that in California, it's warm and we don't have to shovel sunshine. In Montana, it's not quite the same climate, so.
How's
but
their water there, though? Not as many problems?
We can talk about that offline. Probably depends on where you live. You guys did a spectacular job on 9/11. I know that's what everybody's saying, but it just makes me so proud to live here and to know I raised my daughter here and to invite people to come and experience as well. So thank you for all the hard work. I know it's not easy, and I know it's not necessary, but it's very much appreciated, so thank you. There's a couple of good news I want to share. I'm not going to call the situation we're in anymore a drought, because it's not. It's not about weather, it's not about rain, it's about water supply mismanagement. And so I'm going to talk about some of the things we're doing to fix that. So last Thursday, the Board of Directors at the Water District approved a formal resolution to support the Doheny Ocean Desal project located in Dana Point. And our intent is to do a letter of intent of interest and to purchase 1 MGD from that plant. The capacity right now in the first phase is 5, and then figure out how to get it here. I can't wait for people to decide that people are more important than other types of special interests. And I'm really concerned now that the Colorado River, the Bureau of Reclamation is asking for a 73% cutback. That's our only other lifeline. In Canyon Lake, we are 70% reliant on imported water, and that's when the Canyon Lake Water Treatment Plant is on. So I know this isn't going to be popular, but there may come a point in the very near future where, as much as we wanted to keep the plant offline until we had negotiated a deal with Metropolitan to buy water all the time, to be able to have advanced treatment technologies for PFAS and other contaminants, that we will not have that luxury. So I'm not saying that's what we're doing right now, although people can call me, I'm happy to talk about it, but I just want us to have the conversation. So the more times we can shut our sprinklers off when it's raining, be very appreciative of that. You know, the less toxins and nutrients we have in the lake, the less algae. I know I've gotten phone calls about that. I know the POA has too. We're going to try and look for a long-term resolution to that. I just need everybody to be as efficient as possible. I'm not saying to conserve. I'm not telling you not to use it. Just don't waste it. So I'm happy to take any questions if anybody has anything for me this evening.
Any questions? I just want to say thanks. Thank
you're
you for
welcome.
continuing to be so easy and accessible to get a hold of.
You're
So,
welcome.
always answer the questions. I
Oh,
appreciate it.
So hey, I saw your presentation yesterday at the POA meeting. I thought that was excellent. I just, kind of eye-opening. I'm not sure if you have time to do that tonight, obviously, but maybe bring at least pieces of it forward. I just thought it was worth the time.
Thank you. I can't do it in 3 minutes, but maybe I can get something on the calendar for October. I don't want to do it because I'll be crying. I already know that, so maybe November, if that's okay.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good?
you.
Perfect. All right. Madam President Odell from the Chambers of Commerce.
Sorry, I'm limping. It was a leg day at the gym. So, good evening, Mr. Mayor,
Thanks
City
for-
Council members, city staff. Great to be here. So, a couple of quick things, because I know you have a very full of agenda tonight. We have a couple of events coming up. We have our ribbon cutting for Frozen in Time Cryo on this Friday, the 16th. I know a few of you will be there. It's at 4 p.m. On the 20th, we'll be attending a multi-chamber ribbon cutting at the Assistance League down in Temecula. They're very excited about it. I guess they had some water damage, so they're celebrating their reopening. They're going to have lots of good food if anybody's interested. We are in the planning stages for 3 others ribbon cuttings this year, so that's really exciting. It's been a very good year for businesses and ribbon cuttings and everything, so we're grateful for that. Like Renee said, we also have an event website. On our website, we have an event tab, so I do encourage everybody to look at that, because not only do we post chamber events, we also post events for our chamber members. So you'll see some stuff for like Animal Friends of the Valley and stuff like that on there. We also have our big annual Parade of Frights on October 29th, and as you know, there'll be over 1,000 kids trick-or-treating through the town center, so we're excited about that. We're in the planning stages. We also have launched our business bingo, which hopefully some of you have seen these. We have these, God, can't talk in here tonight. We have these business cards available at 4 of our chamber businesses. You can pick them up at Daisy Dukes, Pepe's, Pure Studios, and Pack, Wrap, and Post, or you can download them from our website. And basically what it is you're going to complete action items that basically drive you into our businesses. Purchase something at Sugar Dolls, purchase something at Daisy Dukes, buy appetizers at our local restaurants. And the Chamber has also partnered with 5 of our local nonprofits, and we have some squares on here to make donations to them just by using the QR codes on the back. And big thanks to our sponsors, Pack, Wrap, and Post, CPR Training Centers, Hoffman's Painting, Pepe's, and the Sports Stop. So we have potential for 5 winners, and guess what they get? Yes, that's right, Canyon Cash Cards. To once again, spend money back into our community.
Yay.
So we're excited about that. I know Corey has an extensive presentation for you all tonight on our grant program, so I just want to do 2 little quick things. One, Canyon Cash has been incredibly successful. So as he presents the numbers tonight, just keep in mind, we only launched on July 3rd. So,
It's awesome.
yeah, it's been amazing. Our restaurants and actually one hair salon are the big winners with people redeeming the Canyon Cash cards. We also have the business relief grants, and the Chamber is currently working with 5 businesses to get those applications in. So I'm kind of excited about that as well. And the last thing, from a personal note, I'm very excited to announce that we've hired an administrative services manager who will be taking over the day-to-day operations of the Chamber. Who's laughing back there? That's what I thought. She'll be starting on Monday, September 19th, so I'll bring her to the next council meeting to meet all of you.
That's great.
So I know you all know her. It's Heidi Curie. She worked over at Platinum Plumbing. She's a local resident, so she
good.
definitely understands the uniqueness that Canyon Lake is.
Oh, that's good.
So that's it for tonight. Any questions?
We're good.
We're
Thank you,
good. Okay.
President Odell, awesome.
Thank you. I apologize to Corey. I'm not sticking around to listen to his presentation, but I will be watching from home.
Love it.
Just so you know. Thank you.
Pressure's on,
Thank you.
Corey. All right, moving on. So when do we actually get to call you captain? When's the date?
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow? Okay, well, I'm
Yes.
gonna, well,
At
what
10
are we,
o'clock, so
5
about
hours? 3 hours?
10:30-ish,
Okay, tomorrow morning then?
Yes.
Technically? Okay.
technically.
All right, well, Lieutenant/Captain Rails.
Well, Good
To
evening, Mayor,
present.
Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members, staff. I have 2 months of stats to go over. I have the month of July and the month of August.
Perfect.
In the month of July, deputies responded to or generated 405 calls for service, which was increased 17 calls from June, which is not bad considering July is usually a lot busier month. Also, in July, there were 11 Part 1 crimes. We had 2 aggravated assaults, 3 burglaries, 1 theft, and we had 5 motor vehicle thefts, which was up quite a bit from prior months. Deputies also wrote 15 traffic citations, investigated 6 traffic collisions. Overall, there were 9 arrests made in the city of Canyon Lake. There's 1 for domestic violence, 2 for battery, 1 for burglary, 1 for drunk in public, and 4 DUIs. That covers the month of July.
All righty, any questions on July? Everyone good? All right.
Now we're going into August, which decreased quite a bit in crimes, which is good. There were 365 calls for service, which was a decrease of 40 calls from 405 in August, in the prior month. There were 5 Part 1 crimes actually this month, 2 assaults, 1 burglary, 2 thefts, and 0 motor vehicle thefts, which is good.
It's really good.
Whatever it was, it stopped.
Yeah.
I know we had a couple of arrests, and hopefully that did it.
That's good.
Also, deputies wrote 5 traffic citations, investigated 1 traffic collision, which is also good. Traffic collisions have been down the last few months. And there were 4 arrests made in the city of Canyon Lake, 2 for domestic violence, 1 for battery, and 1 for burglary. And you know what, let me go back. I forgot that I added response times
Yeah.
at the bottom. That way you have those. So let's go back to the month of July for priority 1 crimes. We're looking at 7 minutes, 13 seconds which was decreased from the prior month. And priority twos, we're looking at 27 minutes, which was actually a decrease also. For the month of July, actually for the month of August was 7 minutes, 7.08 minutes, so just about the same. And then 27.20. So both months staying right around 7 minutes for priority ones and 27 minutes for priority twos.
Thank you for adding that. Is 7 is pretty much what you're seeing regionally as well? Or are we having a better response time than other jurisdictions?
It kind of fluctuates.
Yeah.
Response times are tough for us because
Right.
it's when the deputy actually, it's when the call is called in, not when the deputy receives it. So it's not actually our response, it's the total response.
Yeah.
I'm having to go through and weed out, and I've, working with my dispatch on this, I found some discrepancies doing these different reports. And I'm finding that sometimes there's a glitch in our CAD system to where, let's say there's a major traffic accident, deputy gets there in 2 minutes, but the investigator that's handling the fatal traffic collision gets there 30 minutes later. They're switching that time.
That's interesting.
So, and it's happening on a few things, so this is pretty much weeding out some of that. But response time is right around 7 minutes.
Okay.
For those priority calls.
Any questions?
Just a question. A few months ago, you kind of went on a surge on Railroad Canyon, Newport, Double Goni. The cities did an effort to just take that speed down. I haven't seen the accidents. I haven't heard as many problems since you did that. Was that effective?
I think it was, and if you notice the traffic stats, we're not writing as many citations the last 2 months.
Yeah.
So I've got to keep reminding my deputies to get out there, and when you're not doing something else, just do the traffic citation. So one deputy we moved out, well, he actually was on modified duty for a short time, so that's the one deputy that was doing a lot of these, writing a lot of citations was off. So now we've got to get the other deputies on board. So I think as you see more citations, you're going to see those traffic accidents stay low. And then some of those big sweeps we're doing. We haven't done them in a while, but once we get back to those, I think it'll keep that level down.
I just want to comment that I was down at the center down below. They also know I saw your car pull over 3 people in like an hour. I just said, excellent, because I know that just everybody saw this happen. Everybody said, this is a road I better go slower on. And I just want to say I appreciate it.
That's all it takes, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll keep
I
on
have
them.
one question.
Councilwoman Dean?
I know you said you're working through the discrepancies on the time. Is there a goal time that you have for the different responses?
We want to get there as quickly as possible. Anything from 5 to 7 minutes on a priority one is pretty good time. Sometimes we're getting there in 2 minutes, 3 minutes. There's always one call that bumps that up, because most of them are 2, 3, 4 minutes, and then you'll have one that's like 12 minutes. And that's because maybe the deputy was stuck on something else and couldn't get away, and we had to bring a deputy in from Canyon Hills or something a little bit more of a distance. So there's usually 1 or 2 calls that kind of mess that up. But I think the average without one of those main calls that causes that, it's around 5 minutes, which is a good time for us.
I just want to say congratulations on your promotion,
Thank you.
and I know how hard it is, and you'll do a great job. Thank you for our service
Thank you,
to our
sir.
city.
And back to you. It's been a pleasure working with you. I was going to save my comments, and I'm sure we'll talk before you go, but hate to see you go. I always love your questions, love your insight on public safety from the fire end and the end of law enforcement. So appreciate that, and I wish you the best. Thank you. Happy for you.
I just have one thing.
Yes.
We had a POA city security meeting.
Thank you for bringing that up. It's good.
And you let us know that we have online reporting for Canyon Lake.
Yes.
Can you kind of describe that a little bit more?
Yes, I don't know if anything was sent out yet. I know I had sent over the link to
cool.
it. But what it is now any lower priority calls, even some of these burglaries where you have no suspect information, deputies don't need to come out and take prints, something stolen from your house. If you need to just minor reports. If you have something going on where you need a deputy just to have it report, even if it's like a domestic call, that you just need this documented. You can do all those online. I don't have the website on me, otherwise I would have brought it, but the city will be putting something out soon to where you can just click on there and you can go through and you can pull, it'll pull a file number for you and you can put all the information in, and that will be your report. Sometimes those reports can be followed up on, so if you can actually put in there that you request fingerprinting, we'll send one of our community service officers out to take fingerprints. So this just cuts down on the calls for service where deputies don't have to be there all the time. It's almost like having another deputy or a CSO within the community that can take those smaller calls. I know everybody wants a face-to-face, but sometimes on these lower party calls, you're going to be waiting for a while, so it's better just to go ahead and make the report online. It's documented, and it's no different.
Okay, thank you.
So,
I'm glad you brought that up. That's good. Any other questions? Soon-to-be captain, thank you.
yes, thank you.
Appreciate you. All right, code enforcement's up. Ruby, the floor is yours. All right.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. So I'm going to be covering the months of July and August, and I don't have them separated, so they're all combined. We had 2 building unpermitted violations at 2 construction sites, 1 MPDS violation, 1 unpermitted sign, a green pool, and 4 lack of property maintenance. Those have all since been rectified. And down to our BLM, no changes there. The level of activity is still high. We issued 30 citations and 45 verbal warnings. And I apologize because I did forget to add one more item in there. I'm sure you're aware we have our BLM has a crew out there doing some vegetation cleanup, mainly by the properties that abuts to BLM, and that's for the purpose of fuel reduction. And so they're still doing that. I think they have 2 more weeks of that. And then down to our short-term rentals, 1 short-term rental was found. Since it had the ad was removed, and we are continuing to monitor all of our residential rental sites. And down to our residential rental registrations, 347 registrations are active and current, 317 have renewed, 30 are still pending renewal, 31 residential inspections were conducted for the months of July and August, and 48 are still pending scheduling. And that's it.
Any questions? Mayor Pro
Question.
Tem?
Ruby, the fuel reduction are you using CCC Camp, or who's doing your fuel reduction?
I believe it's the BLM Fire Protection.
Okay, so it's BLM?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Good? Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Chief, you are up.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, staff, Jeff Latendresse, your fire chief. I've been meaning to do this for a couple months, and I keep forgetting, and the city manager keeps reminding me that I keep forgetting. So I have to present to you tonight a plaque that will bear or be installed outside of our new fire station. And we ordered it back for the grand opening in February. It took a while to get here, and then it took a couple months for me to remember to bring it, present it to the council meeting. So if I could read it for you and for everyone. City of Canyon Lake Fire Department, Fire Station 1, Fire Administration. Fire Station 1 is dedicated to the residents, the visitors, and those who do business in Canyon Lake, and to the firefighters of the past, the present, and the future who have and will continue to respond from this station in service to the city of Canyon Lake. And it has all the council members' names on there, the city manager and the fire chief. This department was established January 1st, 2022. So, Mr. Mayor, if I could present this to you.
Wow, that's awesome. I'll pass it around. Nice. You need a gem membership to hold it, just FYI. How cool is that? Holy cow.
That's awesome.
So my apologies for being late with that. We've identified a location once we get through some of the remodel that we're planning to do with the ARPA funding. It's going to go essentially as you come up to the fire station where the apparatus bay is and you turn right to head down to the administrative offices. It's going to hang right in that area there. So once we get the station painted, we'll be putting it up after that.
That's incredible.
So thanks to the city for allowing us the ability to put that together.
When's the timeline, you guess, on that?
We're working through now trying to get the
If you had to
three
guess.
informal bids,
Probably longer than 45 days, right?
probably longer than
Can we take a
45
picture up
days.
here with you holding this thing? Corey, can you take a picture of us real quick with Larry holding this thing? This is cool.
Are you worried that Larry's going to try and take that?
No, I'm worried that he won't be here when we do the official stab it in the building.
I'm just checking.
That's so cool. Thank you for doing this, Chief. That's awesome.
Okay, over here. 1, 2, 3. Got it. Cool.
I hope I don't lose it.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Okay, my report also is for the last 2 months. I prepared a report similar to this and presented it to the city clerk to be on file. But the way our report is laid out, I believe I'll be able to go through all the numbers for both July and August with one report.
You only have 45 seconds left. so-
Very good. So for the month of July, July was our busiest month. We did have a council meeting early in July where I talked about the 4th of July activities being our busiest day. But in July, we ran 113 incidents, and in August, we ran 99 incidents. So again, August was our second busiest month thus far. How did those incidents break out in the month of August? Well, we had 4 fires, 75 medical aids, 5 service calls, 13 good intent calls, and 2 false alarm calls. And it's really pretty similar to the month previously in July, where we had 4 fire calls, 83 medical aids, 1 hazardous condition, 6 service calls, 17 good intent, and 2 false alarms. So those give us our total numbers for the month. I know we always like to say, well, what were our fires for the month? And so for the month of August, our first fire was August 8th at the Treasure Island condos. It was confined to a closet. The property owner had put their towels all the way up against the high-intensity light that was in the closet. The light remained on, started a fire due to combustible objects too close to a heat source. Second fire was on August 17th in the 23,000 block of Gray Fox. It happens all too often. Food was left on the stove. On August 30th, we had a vehicle fire in the area of Yosemite and Giant Fir. It was a fully involved engine compartment fire. Unfortunately, due to the damage from the vehicle and the age of the vehicle's probably a total loss, and we were not able to determine the cause. The property owner came home, parked the car. 30 minutes later, they heard a pop, and it was the front tire exploding from being on fire. And then August 31st, we had a second vehicle fire where we assisted CAL FIRE out on Crumpton and Highway 74. That vehicle was fully involved, and so we assisted in extinguishing that fire. The previous month was July, and so we had that brush fire started by fireworks at Happy Camp. We had our vegetation fire that was in the BLM land. Inside the city limits, we had a trash can fire in a garage that was set by a juvenile fire setter. And then we had an outside fire in the Meadowbrook area. What time are we responding to these incidents? It still stays pretty consistent. You know, the early morning hours are our slowest hours, and then in the middle of the afternoon and the late evening, we pick up, with our busiest time being about 7, 8 o'clock at night. So this is the month of August, and if we look at year-to-date, again, that's pretty consistent. There was a spike there, 55, that you'll see right about the middle of the day, year-to-date, when about noon, the 1 o'clock time frame, we're seeing probably our busiest activity period. So again, this information is helpful for us. We plan our day around these times when we're more likely to get a call, and we try to keep ourselves more available for responses. Where are the fires occurring? Well, still our most common location is single-family residence. This chart keeps growing every time we get a new property type. So let me put my glasses on. In the month of August, we had 66 of our calls were in single-family residence. In the month of July, 78. I wanted to highlight the box, the red box towards the bottom there. Those are calls in beachfront or water area. So obviously during the summertime, the lake is getting more use. We start seeing our responses increase in there. And just to continue to point out, we still every month have had someone come to our fire station with a medical emergency. So it still surprises me. Those are where our calls are occurring for the month of August. So, you know, the east side over, I'm sorry, the west side over on Longhorn is not as busy as the other side of the lake and along Railroad Canyon Road. So that is where the majority of our calls tend to occur. Our response times. So during the month of August, we put our reserve engine into service for just a little bit over a week. Our engine 1 went in for its routine maintenance, and so while that occurs, that's why we have a reserve engine. So you'll see some numbers up there for both engine 1 and engine 201. So for August, our average turnout time, and again, that's the time from the alarm sounding at the fire station until we hit the en route button and we start responding, was 1 minute 15 seconds. So it's right about the same that we did for July, which was 1 minute 16. So we're still fairly consistent with the time it's taking us to get out of the station. Councilmember Dane asked the sheriff, do you have a goal? Well, for us, we'd like to see that right around a minute. It's really hard to do because we're looking at a whole 24-hour period of time, and depending what the firefighters are doing, it takes a little bit longer to get and stop what they're doing, if they're cooking, if they're in the shower, if they're doing whatever, and getting onto the engine and hitting the en route button. The travel time increased a little bit in the month of August. So you'll see there our average travel time for engine 1 is 5 minutes 11 seconds, and engine 201 is 5 minutes 16 seconds. If you go back to the previous slide, though, where we saw the map was, and you see where the calls are occurring, that's about the furthest distance away from the fire station that engine 1 can go. So it kind of explains why travel time has increased a little bit. So with the increase in travel time, obviously that's going to increase our total response time from the time of notification until we get on scene. So for the month of August, it was an average of 6 minutes and 21 seconds for engine 1 and 6 minutes 34 seconds for engine 201. What we would like to really grade ourselves by is the 90% though. 90% of the time, what are we doing? How well are we achieving our goals? So our turnout time in the fractile, 90% of the time for EMS responses, our time was 1 minute and 57 seconds, and for that one, our goal is 1 minute 45. So we're just a little bit over. For engine 201, we didn't have it tracked for some reason. It wasn't able to draw that information because it's only looking at engine 1. For our travel time, it actually went down here. So it went from 7:10 to 6 minutes and 9 seconds. So 90% of the time we were getting on scene within 6 minutes, 9 seconds. And our goal there is 6 minutes. So we're just 9 seconds off. And then our overall response time, our goal is 7 minutes, 45 seconds. And we were at 8 minutes and 5 seconds. So we're close. We've been on track for 2 months. We continue to evaluate it, and again, out of those 3 metrics that we're looking at, we can only control one, and that's the turnout time. The others are beyond our control. Mutual aid and automatic aid given. So during the month of, and there's a typo there, this should be the month of August, we responded 9 minutes into the Lake Elsinore area code, none into Menifee, and 1 into Paris. So far this year, we have responded 89 times into the county's area for automatic and mutual aid requests. 71 in Lake Elsinore, 12 in Menifee, and 6 in Paris. And this is the showing for the month of August where those calls were at. So you can see most of them are out the gate, the north gate there, where we're going out Greenwald and out to the 74. That's where we're seeing most of our activity. Automatic aid and mutual aid received during the month of August, we had 14 instances where CAL FIRE came in to assist us. So far this year, CAL FIRE has come in 95 times. So 89 for us, 95 for them. To us, that's still very equitable in the distribution of automatic and mutual aid. Year-to-date, this is where County Fire is coming in and assisting us, looking at all the calls that they've come in. So it's really a splattering throughout the entire city. So when we need a backup, when we need that second unit, they're covering wherever that call is located. Our training hours for the month of August, A shift had 35 hours, B shift had 28 hours, C shift had 30 hours. Year-to-date, you can see we're getting up in the area of almost 659 hours on A shift, 350 hours on the B shift, and 546 hours on the C shift. The reason why there's some differences on the shift is one shift is short a firefighter. So it's not included in the total number count there. Our focus during the month of August was auto extrication. Brothers Towing was great and brought in 2 vehicles for us to practice right at the fire station. The city manager and Corey was there to observe that. We continue to work with our personnel on fire simulations. If you've been at City Hall lately, you've been seeing us walk through all the buildings here in the town center. So we're walking through every building in the town center, becoming familiar with them. On the weekends, we come out here when nobody's here and we're doing hose lays. BLM familiarization, code enforcement has been great. We've taken all the crews out in our Type 6 and driven all 3 areas of the BLM land. We are working now with getting one of our firefighters trained up to be a fire investigator. And we actually brought in our third-party administrator, I can't think of their name right now, I'm sorry, for workers' compensation and adminture. We brought in an adminture, and they taught us and instructed our captains and all of our personnel on how to properly fill out paperwork when there's an injury and what we're supposed to do. So we can make sure, even on the administrative side, that we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's. Our reserve firefighters, again, this program's intended to bring our daily staffing up from 3 firefighters to 4 firefighters. During the month of August, we had a reserve 74% of the time, or 23 days, we had a reserve firefighter on duty. So far this year, since we started, 81% of the time, we've had 4-0 staffing on the fire engine. We've also hired 7 new reserves because we've lost several reserves already. And we knew that was going to happen. That's what this program is intended to do. It's intended to train firefighters to get full-time jobs. So one of them has become a Canyon Lake firefighter. 4 of them have gone to CAL FIRE. 1 has gone to Redding in Northern California. 1 is a full-time ambulance operator in Laguna Beach, and 1 became a hand crew member for the LA County Fire Department. So again, the program is doing what it's intended to do. It gets expensive and it takes a lot of time rehiring and retraining, but we believe it's worth the investment and we're getting our benefit from it. Fire prevention, I think, as was already alluded to in our Finance Committee meeting, it was a little bit busier in August. We had 1 site review. We didn't do any sprinkler plan reviews, 1 construction inspection, but really what jumped to my attention was we had 9 special application permits. So a lot of activities, I think, as Renee mentioned, that there's something going on every weekend. Well, we approved all those activities from a city perspective. And so we also did 3 inspections of those special events. Public education and relations, well, we went out to National Night Out in Wildemar. We again participated at Taco Tuesday, movie night. We were out there to cheer on the Canyon Lake Triathlon and Fitness Club for their paddle out. We've still conducting EMT and reserve ride-alongs with our residents. We participate with the Emergency Disaster Preparedness Committee and our continued daily interaction with the community as we're out there interacting with them. And the picture on the right was just an amazing photo. The city manager saw it, and I think in one of the posts, and it was at National Night Out, and just as a striking picture of a young lady with our fire helmet on. We'll call our most significant event in the month of August was August 13th. A significant brush fire broke out in Lake Elsinore. It had the potential to go to about 20 acres. A single-family dwelling was fully involved. There was a critical burn injury. They were calling in for all the area fire engines. They called in for a helicopter to transport the patient. And why Canyon Lake wasn't part of the initial dispatch, the area around us instantly became empty. And so we first responded to a traffic accident on the 15 freeway in Maine. While they were clearing that incident, they responded to a drowning incident at Lake Elsinore along with other CAL FIRE units. And it's interesting, it's hard to see in there, but we're carrying the patient from the lake up to the ambulance in a Stokes litter. And we talk about our fire engines being toolbox. Well, our fire engine was the only fire engine there on scene that had a Stokes litter. And so we were able to utilize the equipment that we carried, a resource that was needed on that incident, and help to resolve and treat the patient better by getting them better transportation up to the ambulance. Ruby talked about the fuel modification program that's going on the BLM land on the outside of Longhorn, and it is being done by BLM with CCC hand crews, California Conservation Corps hand crews, and you can see the difference that they're making out there. For the most part, has been well received. It's their land. They can do what they want to do on their land. There's been some question from one or two property owners on where property lines are, but they have trimmed up the palm trees. They've trimmed out the tamarisk trees. Residents can actually see the jump lagoon again, and I think from a fire safety perspective, I feel much more confident in our ability to keep a hostile wildfire from getting into Canyon Lake from this area now. So we fully support what they're doing, and we offer them all the assistance that we can. We had a dumpster on site at the fire station to help remove all the debris. A lot of it is being chipped on site, but the palm fronds and some of the others had to be removed from the area. It's going to be a long time before we have our next meeting, so just a couple of highlights of what's already been talked about at 9/11. Our crews had a very long day out there. It was our A shift, Captain Gorder, Engineer Sanchez, and Firefighter Myers. You know, just kind of a side note on it, they were up all night the night before running calls. They got about 45 minutes of sleep. And then the day started right at 7 o'clock at City Hall and helping to get set up there. They ran a couple calls in the morning, went over, was able to participate at the pancake breakfast, went back, and right before the parade, they ran a full arrest. So it was a person not breathing, no pulse. They performed CPR and did all their paramedic magic stuff on him, and unfortunately, the patient passed away. They left the scene with the sheriff, and 5 minutes later, they're going from that emotional event to a parade where they're waving at children. And you think about what we do every day, the transition that we have to make at times, and you know the impact on them. And I kind of felt bad. They went from one extreme emotion to another emotion. And you know, it's what we do, and we talk about it and we continue to move forward. But those guys were amazing that day, and they held in, and they were out there in the rain at night for the night event, and it was an amazing day. It was an amazing day, and they were honored to be part of it. So that concludes my report, and I'm available for any questions if you have them.
Any questions?
Just a comment, you were telling us earlier about a T-shirt supply. Could you mention that?
Yes, so we have been able to restock our T-shirts, and we did a Facebook and an Instagram post today on them. They're available at the fire station. The T-shirts and tank tops are $20 each. For the regular size is double extra large is $22. We have tank tops for men, Razorbacks for girls, and we have our koozies back again. We're working on getting hats, but we don't have hats yet.
And hold on one second, and now you're sold out.
3 minutes.
Thank you for that. Well done.
All right, thank you very much.
Any other questions for the chief? Those shirts will be gone so fast. They will be.
Thank you.
Thank you for the report. Appreciate it. All right, that's it for public safety. Moving on, public comments. Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Any person wishing to address the city council on any matter within the jurisdiction of the city, whether or not it appears on this agenda, is asked to complete a speaker request form available on the back counter. The completed form is to be submitted to the city clerk prior to an individual being heard by the city council. The city council has adopted a time limitation of 3 minutes per person. If you're commenting on the agenda item, your comments will be heard at the time that particular item is scheduled on the agenda. Please note that if you're addressing the city council on items not on the agenda, the Brown Act does not allow discussion of such items. Therefore, the city council may only do the following: refer the matter to staff, ask for additional information or request to report back, or give a very limited factual response. Members of the public may still submit their comment electronically by sending an email with their comment to publiccomment@canyonlakeca.gov. Comments submitted electronically will be provided to the City Council and included in the official record, but will not be read aloud during this meeting. I have no cards.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, can you please read the consent calendar statement?
All items listed on the consent calendar are considered to be routine matters, status reports, or documents covering previous City Council action. The items listed on the consent calendar may be enacted in one motion. With the concurrence of the City Council, a council member may request that an item be removed for further discussion. Staff recommends approval of all items.
Awesome. Would anyone like to pull an item from the consent calendar? Going once, going twice. Sold as a no. I do need a motion and a
Motion.
second. Thank you.
Second.
Perfect. I need a roll call vote. Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Walty?
Aye.
Mayor Smith?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Awesome. Moving on, public hearing. This is number 9 for those of you that are following along. This is the introduction of the first reading of ordinance number 223, amending Title 9, Planning and Zoning, Chapter 932. I'm going to public hearing open. The time is 7:35. We're going to turn this over to our city planner to present.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, good evening. This is a minor amendment to the accessory dwelling unit provisions in our municipal code. Our current ordinance complies with state law, but there's an ability to increase the size of the accessory dwelling unit to 1,200 square feet. So we're taking advantage of that, and we're proposing that amendment to you this evening. Once approved by the council, we'll forward that on to the Housing and Community, if I can speak, Housing and Community Development Department of the state. It's a requirement that they receive that ordinance, and we've done that in the past. The action before you this evening is to find the proposed zoning ordinance amendment exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, as noted in item number 1 under the recommendation, and 2, approve the introduction first reading of the ordinance as listed to increase the permitted size of the detached dwelling units from 1,000 square feet to 1,200 square feet. Be happy to answer any questions.
Questions to staff by council? Good? Awesome. Testimony by proponents? Testimony by opponents? There's no response by proponents, so public hearing is closed at 7:37. All right, any discussion from council once again? Nope. All right, I need an action by city council. Madam Clerk, you want me to clarify this, so therefore I'm going to do so. The motion and the second to find the proposed zoning amendment is accepted from the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA. We're going to do a roll call on that alone. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I do need a motion and a second for that.
Yes, please.
Motion.
Thank you. Perfect. Moving on, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Walty?
Aye.
Mayor Smith?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Perfect. I need a motion and a second to approve the introduction and the first reading of ordinance number 223.
Motion to adopt
223.
first reading 223.
Perfect. Need a second?
Second.
Awesome. Roll call vote.
I'm sorry.
We're going to give it to Welty.
Okay. Thank you. Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Green?
Aye.
Councilmember Welty?
Aye.
Mayor Smith?
Aye.
Motion and second to approve the introduction and first reading of ordinance number 223, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Canyon Lake, California, amending sections I'm sorry, this is the wrong one. This is amending Title 9 Planning and Zoning, Chapter 9.32, Accessory Dwelling Units, 9.32.070, square footage of the Canyon Lake Municipal Code to increase the permitted size of detached accessory dwelling units from 1,000 square feet to 1,200 square feet.
Thank you for reading all that.
Thank you.
I'm going to have you do another one here at number 10. All right, number 10, ordinance, introduction of the first reading of ordinance number 224, amending Title 9. Once again, this is going to be from our city planner. Public hearing is opened at 7:38.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, yes, this is another ordinance amendment. This item was spawned based upon a hearing before the city council for a variance for an increased building height.
Got it.
At that time, the council directed staff to investigate an ordinance amendment that would address building height based upon the location of homes throughout the city. And the council also established a council subcommittee to look at that. What was brought before them were, and I don't have the graphic. There it is. Okay, very good. Thank you. What was brought before them was an attempt to address really two different things. I kind of call it the 2x2. So there's two criteria and there's two requirements. What are we trying to do? Well, first of all, in general terms, we're trying, as noted in the first bullet, to eliminate the number of stories. You have a building height, it's kind of irrelevant with respect to how many stories are composed within that, because from a zoning standpoint, we're looking at the massing of the structure. I've seen some floors that have 8 to 10 foot building height, and other ones that have 12 to 13. So what we're interested in is the overall building height and not the number of floors. The effort to address particular locations throughout the city, what we did was we took that based upon slope. So we defined a steep slope as greater than 10%, something relatively flat as 10% or less. So if, to go back to the 2x2, the two criteria is the first one, if you're relatively flat, you keep the same requirements you had before, 40 feet, we don't look at the 3-story. If you have the second option, in which you're greater than 40 feet, then you have the two requirements. And the two requirements are based upon height of the curb, 25 feet, and then the average building height based upon the slope descending from the front the front property line to the rear property line. And that's established based upon the information in the ordinance by survey. This material was provided, I'm sure you're curious, to the applicant that proposed the variance. So I left it up to them with respect to whether or not this particular provision really met their particular needs. Staff did not have the survey called out as part of this ordinance amendment to be able to really look at it in that much detail. So we simply provided to them to make them aware of it. So there's a graphic that is in your staff report. So you have the two criteria. So in this particular case, if you have the steeper slope, you figure out the midpoint of the high and the low point, you have a 45-foot requirement. But you also have a 25-foot requirement from the street. So the effect is, what are you looking at from the street, and always in a downhill condition. It's not an uphill condition. So however those 2 points work out, that is your maximum building height, and then your building envelope is under that. So with that, have a recommendation similar to what you just passed in the previous item. Find the proposed zoning ordinance amendment is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act based upon the section mentioned. And secondly, approve the introduction and reading of the ordinance number 30, amending the Title IX and addressing the increase in building height when applied to slopes that exceed 10%. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah. Any questions, Mayor Pro Tem Green?
With this ordinance, once we vote on it, the applicant that came for the variance, their project is held up still, correct?
Yes.
Once we vote on this, how soon will they be able to proceed forward with their process?
The ordinance has a second reading, and 30 days thereafter it becomes effective.
Okay, is there any way that I know that they've been pending for considerable time.
A couple months now.
And is there any way that if we do the first reading, that it can be authorized that they would start moving forward with their paperwork and stuff?
They could go ahead and submit, we could go ahead and review the plans. We can't issue the permit until the ordinance is effective.
What I'm trying to do is get them so they can start moving on their project, because they're stalled right now. And
Right.
it took longer,
Than we thought.
just our process that we use to make the ordinance, make the changes, which are, thank you. It's much clearer. The project hopefully will go forward with them, and it will be an addition to the community. So I'm just trying to maybe shorten up their wait, because they have been waiting considerable time.
Mayor Pro Tem, I'm just offer, as Jim mentioned, I'm sure there's quite a bit of work that they have to do in terms of submitting the plans. I think we can work with them in terms of, normally we might not start reviewing plans if, but in anticipation of things going well, the second reading, and I think we can start to move review of those plans and that paperwork. So hopefully it won't present much in the way of a delay to them from this point forward.
Because right now, we're not accepting, basically it said not until this passes, don't submit anything. There's been nothing going on, no movement on that project. Is that correct?
There hasn't been any movement on the project. I'm not sure what they have been told. What I've told them is the effective date is, as I just mentioned, that we could issue a permit at that point in time. With regard to the plan check, we could go through that process. It is important to note that one of the provisions is a survey that defines the elevations upon which we determine what the height is. I'm not sure that initially came in because it wasn't on the drawings. So they may have to still undertake that step on their own. If that information's available, they could go ahead and submit for plan check. We would hold the permit up.
So, help me understand.
Okay.
If we get that exact elevation and it's not what their existing plans are, then this ordinance still wouldn't allow them to build those plans.
That's correct.
Mr. Mayor?
Wow.
We're quite confident that won't be the case. I mean, anyone who's seen this property would know that slope is going to be within, they're going to fall under this new ordinance, most assuredly.
Okay, as long as it's
Yeah.
most assuredly, because to go through this entire process and then to find out we have to then restart for a project that this council obviously wants for the community would just be bad governing, in my opinion. So as long as, we're moving in the right direction on that. Any other questions from council? Nope. All right, do we have testimony by proponents?
None.
None? Testimony by opponents?
None.
Response by proponents, none. Public hearing closed, 7:47. All right, discussion by city council. Anything to add?
I just think this is a nice balance of rights between the current owners and proposed owners and the owner of the specific properties. Anyone that moves into a community would expect that most houses would probably go 25 feet above the curb. So I think this is, for anyone in Canyon Lake, and a house is 25 feet above the curb, that's what a person would expect in any community. That meets that need, and it also meets the need of the individuals who buy these lots that are downhill. In some ways, when you get a downhill lot, it does take special designs to somehow take full advantage of the lot you purchase, and I think this is a great balance.
Any other comments? All right, do need an action by city council. We're going to take this up in two again. The first one's going to be a motion and a second, proposed zoning amendment, and this is for the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA. I do need a motion and a second on that. Check one, check two.
Second.
Perfect. We have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Green. Now his mic is working. Then we have a second from Councilwoman Jennifer Dane. I do need a roll call vote on this.
Councilmember Castillo. Aye. Councilmember Dane.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Green.
Aye.
Councilmember Welty.
Aye.
Mayor Smith.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Perfect. I need a motion and a second to approve the introduction and the first reading of ordinance number 224. I do need a motion and a second, please.
Motion to adopt ordinance number 224, first reading.
Perfect. Mayor Pro Tem Green with the motion. Aye. Second. Mayor Smith with the second. Look at that. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Castillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Dane.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Green.
Aye.
Councilmember Welty.
Aye.
Mayor Smith.
Aye.
Motion carried to approve the introduction and first reading of ordinance number 224.
Awesome.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Canyon Lake, California, amending Title IX, Planning and Zoning, Article 6, R1, One Family Dwellings of the Canyon Lake Municipal Code.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We are moving right along. All right, business item number 11. This is ordinance resolution, introduction of the first reading of ordinance number 225. Let's see here. Ooh, city attorney.
I apologize. The presentation will be by the city manager.
Who, typo?
Typo on my part.
You got so excited, maybe the city attorney should. This is a pretty simple one anyway. I think I can handle it.
Okay.
As we have been doing for the last few years, we've been going through and updating certain sections of the municipal code. This is a section that is badly in need of updating. For example, it references that city council meetings will be held at the Canyon Lake Golf Clubhouse, located at 32001 Railroad Canyon Road. So,
When's the date on that?
I
How
would
long
have to
ago
go
was
back
that?
and look. It's in the municipal code. I'm not sure when it was put there. The city clerk can check on that.
Yeah, please.
So we'd like to clean up that language. In addition, this resolution would change the city council's regular council meetings from the first Wednesday to the second Wednesday of every month. A number of reasons for that. Probably the one that's most important is that we found the first Wednesday of every month often has to be rescheduled because there seem to be a lot of events, holidays, conferences, et cetera, the first week of each month. So in looking at our calendars, we think, so far this year, we've rescheduled 3 council meetings from the first Wednesday to the second Wednesday, and we'll have at least one more in the month of December. So we are recommending the approval of this resolution, which changes the meetings from the first Wednesday to the second Wednesday of the month and cleans up the language in relation to meeting location.
The original ordinance was adopted in 1990.
1990.
Wow. On the first tee, I'm sure. Okay. Absolutely. I have no objection. So I need a motion. Actually, let me go through the process. City Council, do you have any questions to staff on this? Awesome. Any public comments?
No comments.
No one? Okay. I do need a motion in a second. This is pretty simple.
Motion.
Second.
I do need a roll call vote. This is for number 2022-56.
And also to approve the introduction and first reading of ordinance number 225.
That too.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Councilmember Castillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Dane.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Green.
Aye.
Councilmember Welty.
Aye.
Mayor Smith.
No. I just wanted to mix it up. I wanted on the first tee. I liked it there. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Motion carried to approve the introduction and first reading of ordinance number 225, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Canyon Lake, California, amending sections 2.01.010 and 2.01.020 of the Canyon Lake Municipal Code related to the date, time, and location of meetings of the City Council and adopting resolution number 2022-56.
Perfect, thank you. All right, we're moving on to business item number 12. This is introduction, the first reading of ordinance number 226, adding chapter 2.44, signatures to Title II of the Canyon Lake Municipal Code regarding the delegation of signing authority and use of digital signatures. That's why I don't read the whole thing. It doesn't sound as good. It sounds better when you read it, Anna. Mr. City Manager, you will be presenting this one.
Yes, I will. A lot of details in the staff report, but I think I can keep this one pretty simple. This gives us the authority to use digital signatures for city documents. I think it's staff's preference that wherever possible, we still use actual physical signatures, but sometimes that's not always practical. So we would like the flexibility to be able to use digital signatures.
Any questions from council on digital signatures? Wow. All right, Madam Clerk, any public comments on digital signatures?
No comments.
Okay, I need a motion in a second.
Motion.
For what?
To use digital signatures?
Second.
Wait, is that a text?
No.
Paying attention.
for reading of ordinance number 226. She gets on me when we don't read the ordinance in the first motion. Yes, of course, digital signatures.
226.
It's for 226, Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Castillo.
Aye.
Councilmember Dane.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Green.
Aye.
Councilmember Welty.
Aye.
Mayor Smith.
Casey Wood questioned me. Aye.
Motion carried to approve the introduction and first reading of ordinance number 226, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Canyon Lake, California, adding Chapter 2.44 signatures to Title II of the Canyon Lake Municipal Code regarding the delegation of signing authority and the use of digital signatures.
Awesome. Don't be nervous, Corey. You're on deck. All right, business item number 13. This is the last one of the night. This is ARPA update. Corey in his brand-new suit will be presenting this. This is an update in respects to Resolution 2022-14, authorizing the acceptance of coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds in the amount of $2,698,000, give or take. You looking good, my friend? This is your first, this is a big moment, all right? I told him do not be nervous. I said that I wouldn't, embarrass him.
Looking good with the tie.
Yeah, he looks good.
Looks good.
Thank you.
Your first presentation, we're glad to have you.
Yes, thank you for having me.
You're not nervous.
I'm not nervous. So, good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the council. Tonight, I will be providing an update on the city's use of the American Rescue Plan Act, also known as ARPA, grant funds to date. If you'll recall, ARPA established the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, which provided $350 billion in grant funds for state, local, and tribal governments across the United States. These funds were provided to support the response and recovery to the COVID-19 pandemic. The City of Canyon Lake's funding allocation was $2,698,416. After almost a year of discussion, local business surveying, and analysis, Council approved Resolution 22-14 on March 2nd, 2022, which authorized the acceptance of these funds and established a work program that outlined how the funds would be used. Within the staff report, there's a very detailed background which provides information on ARPA, the acceptable use of funds, the work program, as well as previous council discussions, directives, and staff recommendations. The work program funding allocation was broken down into 5 components: capital improvement projects, vehicle acquisition, first responder premium pay, assistance to small businesses, and other government services. Within component 1, capital improvement projects, the CIP allocations were broken down into 4 categories. In the first category, we have City Hall renovation. So funds were set aside to build out a new city council chambers in the space formerly occupied by the Canyon Lake Library upstairs, and to make changes and upgrades to the layout and functionality of City Hall. An initial meeting was held in August, and staff is expecting to receive a proposal for project management services this month. In the second category, it was for fire station equipment and upgrades. $300,000 was earmarked to purchase additional equipment and upgrades for the fire station. To date, $70,853.20 has been used to purchase items such as gym equipment, a 200-pound training dummy, a forcible entry door, a roof prop, breathing apparatus, and furniture, to name a few. The third category within the CIP projects included $210,000 that was set aside to make needed repairs to the drywall, interior and exterior paint, carpet, electrical work, etc., to the city-owned building at 31542 Railroad Canyon Road. This building is located up by Domino's and is being leased out by the New Hope Church and others. So far, $6,000 has been spent to repair ceiling drywall that was damaged from a leaking roof. The fourth and final item within this category, or this component, is the code enforcement dock. So monies were set aside to construct a boat dock with lifts and a lockable gate for city boats. So far, 2 proposals have been received. However, the projected cost was higher than anticipated. Staff is working on revising the scope of work to bring the project within budget, and no funds have been used out of the $80,000 that was allocated. The second component of the work program was vehicle acquisition. $210,000 was set aside for 3 new vehicles to replace a 2008 GMC Yukon and a 2008 GMC Sierra, which needed frequent repairs, as well as a Toyota Highlander that was reassigned to the city's new in-house building department. On the far left, you'll see the replacement for the Yukon, which was the 2022 Dodge Ram. This truck has already been equipped with City Graphics, or City Graphics have been applied to it. The remaining unspent funds will be used to outfit the truck with emergency lights and sirens so that it may be used while responding to emergencies and as a backup for the fire department command vehicles. The second vehicle pictured is a new 2022 Jeep Gladiator, which replaced the Toyota Highlander. This Jeep has been outfitted with emergency lights, sirens, and City Graphics, and it is fully in service. The third vehicle that is coming to the city is a new 2022 Ford Explorer that was ordered on July 11th of this year. It is expected to be delivered within the next 2 months. Just like the other vehicles, once delivered, the Ford will be equipped with emergency lights, sirens, and City Graphics, and it will also be used to respond to emergencies and as a backup for the fire department command vehicles. So far, no monies have been spent from the allocated $70,000.
Question for you. Do we know, you said 2008 from the previous vehicles, is that right?
Correct.
Those were brand new when we got them, right? Do you know? Do we know?
Yes, they were brand new, and they were purchased with AQMD funds.
Oh, that's right. So we got, what, that's 14 years out of them?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's not bad.
More than that, yeah.
I'm just happy to see at least a Dodge up there, so we're not a Ford city. We can't be a part of that. Good job so far, Corey.
Okay, thank you. So the third component of the work program was for first responder premium pay. Each Canyon Lake Fire Department employee who was on active duty during the entire COVID-19 pandemic received a one-time lump sum of $5,000. The fourth component of this program was assistance to small businesses/individuals. So during the process of developing the work program, the city conducted a business needs survey of our local businesses. The survey was created to help identify the types of assistance that our businesses needed in their recovery from the pandemic. Survey respondents indicated that they would have a strong interest in grants and programs that would help relieve some financial burden, improve operations, and help bring consumers back to Canyon Lake. The city has implemented 3 different grant programs. $75,000 was allocated towards the Small Business Emergency Relief Grant, $45,000 towards the Small Business Assistance Grants, and $15,000 was allocated to the Shop Local Canyon Cash e-gift card program. An additional $12,000 was apportioned to the Canyon Lake Chamber for administering these 3 programs. The Small Business Emergency Relief Grant can be used for things such as paying rent, utilities, and other operating expenses. The Small Business Assistance Grant was created for businesses that needed help with marketing and website upgrades. To date, both grants are fully funded. A total of 5 small businesses have expressed interest in the grants, as Jeannie mentioned earlier, and 2 of the 5 have submitted partial applications. If you are a small business here in Canyon Lake that was negatively impacted, please visit the website on the screen in front of you. The deadline to apply for this grant is Monday, October 3rd, 2022. The last grant program that we implemented was the Shop Local e-gift card program, aka Canyon Cash. This program has been very successful. This program was designed to provide bonus cash to those individuals that purchased an e-gift card. The e-gift card could only be used at Canyon Lake businesses that registered for our program. To date, the available balance on the bonus cash was $5,150 out of the initial $15,000 deposit. Since this program started, the total dollar value infused back into our local economy is $30,515. Really good.
Phenomenal. Way to go, Canyon Lake.
So the fifth and final component of our work program was titled Other Government Services, and is broken down into 3 categories. The first category, we allocated $10,000 and funded to provide bus transportation so that Canyon Lake youth could travel to Lake Paris to participate in a junior lifeguard program this past summer. I have some pictures up on the screen of that program. The second and third categories within other government and services included $60,000 that was allocated for HDL consulting services in relation to the formulation, execution, and ongoing assistance to the city and to ensure that we remain in compliance with the American Rescue Plan Act. And the last item there was $326,416 was directed towards the city's law enforcement contract with the Riverside County Sheriff. So in conclusion, the city has until December 31st, 2026 to expend all funds. We do anticipate coming back to council at some point in the future to request to move unspent funds from one component to another. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Any questions from council? I get why you used the blue color for your PowerPoint. That was pretty good. Good to go? You answered your question. Awesome job on the report. Absolutely phenomenal. It's good to get an update on that because I don't think we've talked about it in a little while, and it's pretty cool to see all the things that we've contributed and working on. So awesome job. Well done.
Thank you very much. This is
No
my
problem.
pleasure.
All right. No actions required on this. Is there any public comment cards?
No comments.
Perfect. We're moving on. City manager comments. And it says here by the Madam Clerk, please remind the city manager to keep his comments to 33 seconds.
33, I can do that. State of the City event coming up October 27th at the Lodge. Tickets go on sale. Well, we're marketing it for sponsorships currently, and I think it's open for dignitaries, but tickets go on sale to the general public when?
September 23rd,
September 23rd, so that's
next Friday.
Next Friday.
It's
Very,
happening.
Very good. And that's all I have.
Wow. Holy cow. We're recording this, right? All right. Awesome. Moving on to council comments. We're going to kick it off with Council Member Castillo. Make it happen.
Thank you. I'll be short too. Just on behalf of the city side on the 9/11 committee, we're really pleased with the morning presentation that we were able to contribute to the community. I don't know if you probably want to talk about that too, but I was just really impressed with Councilwoman Dane for being just an amazing MC. So great job. Thank you to everyone who came. Thank you to city staff who came on a Sunday. I appreciate that very much. Our first Veterans Club meeting, or not Veterans Club meeting, Veterans Committee meeting is tomorrow at 4:30 here. So if you would like to be on our committee for the Veterans Day this year, we would love to have you. It's open to one and all. And that's it. Good meeting. Thank you, Corey. Good presentation.
Councilmember Dane?
Councilmember Castillo took a couple of mine, so I'll be shorter. In no particular order, I attended the League of California Cities conference last week. A lot of good information. Couple big things that came out of that for me and for our city. Talked about programs that other cities have done to involve youth in government, and that's something that I think is interesting and that I would like to ask that we explore at some point. And then something that I think is very important for our city is we voted at the end of the meeting, voted on a resolution for the league to allocate more resources towards bringing local land use planning and zoning back to the cities and away from the states. So that's something that they're working on to try to get on the ballot for 2024. So I thought that was important. Definitely appreciate the participation of everybody for our 9/11 events. It was a good day. It was a lot of work went into it. Months and months of work went into it from a lot of different people, and I think it came together really well. Really appreciated being a part of the morning's events, and everybody that spoke at the event, as well as the evening event, more as a participant, but just to hear everyone, to have our sheriff there was just great, and just proves once again how great Canyon Lake is. I had the opportunity yesterday to attend the Student of the Month recognition ceremony for Lake Elsinore with the Lake Elsinore Chamber of Commerce. And one of our own students, Jason Ceballos, was one of the students that was Student of the Month. Amazing. All of the kids were amazing, but he was sort of extra amazing. Just great, the youth that we have in Canyon Lake. And that's it.
Awesome. Great update. All right, Councilmember Welty. I stuck to the script.
Good job.
First time
I went to Vector Control this month. I just want to put out a phone number that's 951-340-9792. I've been hearing from people that have having some problems with mosquitoes. If you do have a problem, the service is free. So call them up, and there's a good chance they'll come out and give you some assistance with any bugs or rodents you happen to have around the property. At the Western Regional Council of Governments, we discussed joining on to a movement basically called Solve the Water. President Burke is very good at describing the issues that are coming forward. Again, we can't waste any water, and really the Solve the Water is to motivate and to encourage the governments to invest more funds into our water resources. So I also attended the League of Cities. I kind of laid back and watched a lot about land and taxes, all the things that are kind of boring. So I'll kind of let that one go by. But it was a great learning experience, and I hope to do it again.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Green.
Well, we had an RCA meeting on the 12th, and it was quite interesting. A lot of different things they're proposing. One of the things that is currently being proposed by Feinstein's office is Senate Bill 4669. It's in conjunction with Calvert's bill that we've already authorized, which establishes a wildlife refuge areas in Riverside County to go along with the MSHCP, and they're using that as part of the RCA. The difference between the Feinstein bill and Calvert's bill, and it's pretty clear. Feinstein's bill, and I'll just show you this really quick, they outlined areas that could possibly come into the wildlife habitat. This by no means is established. In this map, if you look, Canyon Lake is a little piece of it, little tiny piece. We doubt if this is probably going to come about. One of the problems is not that the wildlife refuge won't take place, but the direction is to allow the locals to decide which areas should be identified as the wildlife, and then use that criteria as setting the boundaries. Because there's property issues, there's other things that come in, especially when the federal government gets involved, because some of these wildlife areas you can no longer use for firefighting. Aircraft, FOSCHEC, you can't use bulldozers, you can't use hand crews, you have to let them burn through. That means in San Diego County, they burnt through this protected area, and it ended up being a much larger fire. The Fairview fire is an example of that. The Fairview fire burned 6,300 acres of RCA. Those are habitat lands.
Interesting.
16,500 acres were also affected of acreage that's in the MSHCP. So out of the almost 29,000 acres, a big chunk of it was RCA. If that fire would not have made the turn with the rain, it would have ended coming back into Temecula.
Yeah.
So it had a big hook on it. The rain helped, and RCA was actually working very close with CAL FIRE, with all the other agencies. Now RCA is going to end up being part of the county EMA organization, so that when they're doing the overall planning for big events, fires are one, earthquakes, floods, all that stuff, they'll have a seat, because some of the properties are intermingled amongst all this, so that all the regulatory stuff that goes along will be considered and taken care of. So it was quite informal. We are going back to live meetings next month, at the county on October 3rd, and so we'll be back to that.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the update. I'll make mine relatively quick, too. We were dark for most things in the month of August, but in July, I had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. on behalf of RTA. I'm currently the second vice chair, and we were able to secure $9 million in transportation funds for through Calvert, actually, which was a huge win for the organization. So that was not a wasted trip at all, and it was a good time being able to talk to congressmen about and women about the importance of RTA. SCAG was dark, nothing to report there. You don't want me to report anything out of that anyways, that organization. It's a lot of bureaucracy going on, but we try. August 29th, Railroad Canyon was closed. The project is pretty much completed, and RCTC is working to fix up some of the issues that are happening after constructions. They're doing some upgrades to drainage. We had a rain, so they're looking at how things are happening with the new construction. So there might be some closures that are happening, but we had a big project on August 29th that fixed a lot of things, and so it looks like we probably won't have too much more construction through Railroad Canyon. Today at RCTC, we actually discussed a project called the Mid-County Parkway Construction Project, and this is to address some of the issues on Ramona Expressway, and they're actually allocating over $10 million to this project. So I think this is going to be a win for the region. Councilwoman Krupa actually mentioned that she no longer travels on Ramona Expressway because of how dangerous it's gotten to even simply travel to and from. So that's something that has definitely been in the making for quite some years now. Lastly, two more things. The league, I thought it was very productive. I know that Councilwoman Dana and I had some opportunities to sit in a couple sessions together. She had mentioned the importance of the youth, and I think the slogan I got, and correct me if I'm wrong, out of the workshop that we were in was educating the future council, right? Educating the future youth on what it means. And we looked at that as possible mentorships, possible opportunities for young people to actually see what happens in a municipality, what happens in government. So I know for her and I, we had the discussion over the week about how awesome it would be if we could get the involvement of having young people kind of look at how it actually works in the process. So if that's something that we could possibly do, I think that would be great. The last thing I want to report on, this is my favorite thing to report on, I do it every council meeting, and that's our real estate update. We get to find out how much our homes are worth, and I get to tell you that. So first, we're going to look at what took place in Canyon Lake. Just under $22 million worth of transactions took place in the month of August, which is substantial considering July was right at about 14 million. So although rates suck, everyone's talking about it, Canyon Lake properties are still doing extremely well. We're still growing. We're averaging median right at about $735,000 per parcel per home. So it's pretty phenomenal to be a Canyon Lake resident owner. In Canyon Lake right now, median sold price, like I said, is $735,000, and average square foot's 2,700. And on the chart of all the other cities in Riverside County, we are number one. Go figure. That's a new update. Even with Temecula. So yeah, we're right at average sold price $884,000 in the city of Canyon Lake, and Temecula is at $784,000. So this is the first time I'm seeing that we are now above Temecula. So kudos to us. With that, I am going to make the announcement that the next city council meeting will be on Wednesday, the second Wednesday, October 12th, as opposed to the first Wednesday. That'll be the first new official time, 5 p.m. for closed session, 6:30 will be open session, and I get to call the meeting adjourned at 8:18. Done.
Got it.